Welcome to Retrobot, the YouTube channel where we feed a friendly space robot a diet of pure nostalgia. I'm Clay Carlino, and I am here to show you Optimus, Optimal Optimus and the DK-08 upgrade kit. Yeah, I know that's a mouthful. So we got a whole bunch of Optimus Primal over here, and the DK-08 upgrade kit for Power of the Primes Optimus Primal. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and give a toast to all of our friends in the chat. And so this one is for you, Connie Field. And, of course, Nathan Fillion. And Kyoji. A toast to Kyoji. Always a toast to Kyoji. And, of course, Collini. We will see you again someday, Collini. It'll happen. And, of course, my lovely wife, Monica. And Retrobot Buddy. He's taking a nap. And my co-host, Wesley. Yeah. You're on the internet now, buddy. Oh, and Machiavellic is here. A toast to Machiavellic. And Collie D. Collie D, thank you for joining us. So, and Babs Magera. Babs Magera. And I'm getting information from my producer, aka my lovely wife. Oh, okay, so. Oh, well, Babs, it is a pleasure to see you. Monica just let me know that she loves you on Twitter, and that you are the terribly too kind person who has sent her all sorts of Daisy Duck stuff. So thank you so much, Babs. We love you. Hey, everybody, please toast Babs. That's right, I can say Megara. Bam! So, with all of that out of the way, we're just gonna roll right into it. So, for those who don't know, there is a whole history to Optimus Primal that goes back to Beast Wars, and of course, it was one of those things where I think that the show was a little bit underappreciated when it first came out, but on you did, well, I know I didn't. And I remember being online, and there were lots of people that had the truck not monkey mantra, and I'm sorry to say that I was one of those people, although I really never posted anything online back then. I did have you know what, that's not entirely true. I had a website. And if you use the Wayback Machine and look for transformerbastards.com, you will probably find some of my old articles about kit bashes and stuff that I did way back in the day. But nonetheless, so we had Optimus Primal, and so this is an original Optimus Primal. Now we got this secondhand off of an eBay lot. And unfortunately, he is missing some bits. Most notably, he is missing his monkey head that turns into the crest on his chest. He's missing one of the back panels. He only has one sword and no missiles. But you know, he's still a pretty good representation of what that original Optimus Primal looked like. Back when this was designed, just so that you understand, Hasbro's concept for Optimus Primal was that it was Optimus Prime. Same guy that we remember from the Gen 1 series, just as a gorilla, not as a truck. and it was the showrunners that made Beast Wars that came up with the idea that he was a completely different character that just shared a similar name with Optimus Prime. So you can see here that he's got more of a specifically Optimus Prime head sculpt, whereas the Beast Wars version, so this is the anniversary retool of that same toy that was done to look a little bit more like the animation model from the TV show. This is what he looked like in the TV show. Similar but distinctly different. Very much his own bot. And so Optimus Primal starts out as, he's the captain of a ship, but he's not the leader of all Autobots, or in this case, Maximals. Let's see. I'm getting a question here. So Kyoji wants to know if your OG Primal has a skull mace in his arm. And let's see. I'm gonna say that it's unlikely. There we go. So nothing in that arm, and I think that this is the one that's supposed to have missiles in it. So let's just, can we do this? Oh gosh, I need fingernails, and I have a tendency to chew them off. Wait, maybe it's this way. There we go. Okay, so we've got, missile cannon in that arm. No skull mace in this arm. It's been a long time since I've messed with these. Now this one, the reissue absolutely has the skull mace in his arm. Let's go ahead and show that. So this was one of the things that made Beast Wars toys so awesome. Not only do you see here that he has pretty good articulation. He's got shoulder joints, elbow joints, posable hips and knees, and a posable head. He is far, far more posable than just about any of the Gen 1 Transformers, or most of the Gen 2 Transformers. Now, by the time that Gen 2 was nearing a close, they were coming up with some characters that had ball joints, but the vast majority of Gen 2 was a lot of reissued Gen 1 stuff, which meant no posability. And so in Beast Wars, we got posable figures. So the robots are now really and truly action figures. You can get them into the cool poses where it's like, I'm gonna leap into battle and I'm gonna cut stuff and see, he even has this. So here, wait. It's probably better if I put him in gorilla mode for this. So, and Babs wants to know if he turns into a gorilla or a robot gorilla or a truck. And also, Grayscale is here. So, a toast to Grayscale. Welcome to the stream, Grayscale. Always good to see you. And to answer your question, Babs, he turns into a gorilla. So this is his robot mode, which, you can see some furry bits, but the robot is underneath the organic parts. And then to turn him into a gorilla, you take the head crest and you flip around the gorilla face, you flip down the shoulders, you rotate the waist, fold up the feet, and then you can put out the wrists, and you can put his fists up by his chest. And wait, here, let's there's whole. Okay, so he's got this. So, you know, he can do the whole King Kong beating his chest thing. And, oh, Bushman Brown is here. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen Bushman Brown. Welcome back, Bushman Brown. I'm so glad that you were able to make it. By the way, tonight, I'm fighting off a little bit of a cold, so tonight we've got some hot tea that may or may not contain extra. We're just gonna call it extra. And so yes, as I toast people, I'm self-medicating. But so you've got this gorilla here, and he's got good posability. And the thing about him is that, you know, except for the fact that, of course, he's a plastic toy, so he's got, you know, visible joints all over him, but he's a really very playable. And there's a, you know, you can do a lot with him in both modes. He's also got, okay, so let's go back to robot mode, because this is more of a robot mode thing. I know I'm doing a lot of transforming, but you know, he's quick. He's one that you can actually kind of do the, and whoa, look at that. He's Optimus Primal. So we'll we'll put up his shoulders. There we go. He's got weapons stored in him. So you hit that button, and then the rocket launchers. Thank you. Yes. And these are weapons that shoot. So, oh, it's a shame. I really like those missiles. I will never find those. And so the weapons are stored inside him, and that's something that they did with Beast Wars that they really didn't give a lot of attention to before Beast Wars. We've of course got the skull mace that Kyoji was talking about. So here, let's put this on the other camera so that you can really see this. So look at that. You know what? Wait a minute. Hand me the dinosaur guy. Okay, so this is Paleotrex. So okay, wait, we've got to discover something here, because I'm noticing a similarity here. All right, so Paleotrex being a parts former, he comes apart. This is part of the recent Kingdom line, which is an homage to the Beast Wars line, except, you know, this is current. It's mostly an homage to the Beast Wars line. There's also a lot of Gen 1 characters in it, so it's a weird line. It is a very weird line. So we're going to take these, and we're going to put them there. And take these. These are his thigh joints. And the thigh joints plug into the bottom of the rib cage. And then we've got the dino head. And that goes here. Now, in the instructions, it has it with this kind of mask thing for the chest, but I mean, it's got a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull. Okay, the Tyrannosaurus Rex skull is the chest. I don't care what the instructions say. He's got a Tyrannosaurus Rex head skull for a chest, and then we take the arms, and is that what we do? Oh, wait. We have to use some tail pieces too. So we have one tail piece here, and we have a pelvis piece here. There we go. And now we put in the lower halves of the legs. And then we bend around for claws. Okay. I wasn't intending on pulling out Paleotrex until I started looking at this mace. So, this is Paleotrex. Oh, and we'll give him his little... And he's brand new. Okay? Now, let's take him over to the side camera. Look at that head. And look at this skull. Holy crap, I never realized it. They have reused the design for Optimus Primal's skull mace as the battle mask for Paleotrex. That is awesome. That is so cool. Kyoji, okay, wait, here. Everybody, a toast to Kyoji, because I would have never noticed that if Kyoji hadn't mentioned the skull mace. So, thank you, Kyoji. Also, okay, wait a minute here. I'm going to try and get this right. La Rascasse. La Rascasse? La Rascasse? Maybe? You know, I know there's like a 20-second lag, so you just let me know if I got it right. But everybody toast La Rascasse, because I don't think that we've ever seen you in the chat before. So welcome. I hope that you have a good time tonight. And so La Rascasse asks, why is it so difficult to watch Beast Wars? Only option seems to be buying expensive DVDs on eBay. So you have an option. Okay, so Monica is sending me an option. We're going to find out what this is. There's a free online streaming service called Tubi, T-U-B-I. Now, I suspect it's one of those things where there's commercials. You know, you watch and there's commercials on it. But you don't have to pay a subscription for it. It's available in the U.S. Not sure if it's available outside the U.S. I don't know. But they have all the seasons of Beast Wars. So check out Tubi, T-U-B-I, and then you can get your Beast Wars on. And honestly, I have rewatched the Beast Wars series several times over, and every time it's excellent. It's just excellent. You know, you see it, like, you see it at first and you think, oh gosh, the computer modeling is so dated. Oh, those texture maps are so stretched and blurry, but it doesn't take long. Like, you know, you're about halfway through the first episode, maybe through the first episode, and then by the end of it, you're not really noticing that anymore. You're into it because it's got a fantastic cast of voice actors with a really, really good story. I mean, just a profoundly good story. Far better than you would expect from, well, let's face it, Transformers franchise does not exactly have the best track record of great entertainment on TV. You know, it just, yeah, I mean, some series are good, some series are not. So okay, you're done. So we can get back. We have just discovered that Optimus Primal's mace is the head of Paleotrex. So now you know that wherever Paleotrex came from, at some point Optimus Primal takes his head and turns it into a bludgeoning weapon.
Now we know. And knowing is half the battle.
Yo, Joe! So that is Optimus Primal in all of his greatness. And it really is just a fantastic toy. And just so that you understand, these standards of having the weapons contained within the characters and having posability and good articulation, these were things that were adopted throughout the Beast Wars line. And that's one of the things that makes Beast Wars one of the single greatest and most influential toy lines in Transformers history. And I think that's why, you take really, really well-designed toys and a really, really well-done show with a fantastic story and great voice acting, and you put that all together, and it's no wonder that it is still so beloved today. So that is Optimus Primal Original. Or actually, this is original, but this is what he looked like on the show, and this is really what people remember most when they think about Beast Wars, even though this is what the toy looked like. And then they did Transmetals, and that's where they kind of flipped the script a little bit. So with Transmetals, you had shiny robotic beast modes, shiny technological robotic beast modes, and then the robot modes were organic looking. The robot modes would have fur texture and muscles and things like that, whereas the beast modes looked, well, like this, which looks awesome. Oh, and Wesley, so I just want everybody to realize what's also going on while I'm explaining this. Wesley has discovered my sweatshirt strings, and he is very, very interested in what's happening. So, thank you, Wesley. Thank you. I love you. You are going to claw my throat out before the night's over, aren't you? He absolutely is. Yes, I love you, Wesley. I do. This cat is in charge, and I'm... You know what? I'm going to feel safer if I just kind of tuck these in. Sorry, buddy. Oh. He's giving me a look like, you bastard. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I wanted those. And he's still giving me the stink eye. Cute cat. There you go. So, yeah, that is Wesley. I love you. Yeah, sweet kitty. All right, so getting back to Transmetals. So this was the next wave of Beast Wars characters, and this is, I believe in the show, the moon had blown up, or they had blown up a mountain of Energon or something like that, but they get hit by this wave of radiation, and it mutates their bodies so that now they have the transmetal beast modes and the organic robot modes. And so you see Optimus Primal here, and let's just, you see he transforms into a gorilla on a surfboard. Now, he doesn't have to have the surfboard. Just so that you understand, this is built into his legs. Oh yeah, that's so these he doesn't really sit up very well when he's on the surfboard. Oh, and Wesley, you are digging into my flesh. What are you doing, pal? Here, okay, you know what? Yeah, there you go. Okay. Don't worry, my pants will soak up the blood. It's fine. So, we have Optimal Optimus here. Or not Optimal Optimus. This is still Optimus Primal, but this is what was called Transmetals 1, or just Transmetals Optimus. And so he has this surfboard built into his legs where you can take it apart here like this, and then you can fold it up like this and like that, and now he is just a gorilla with you know, shorter legs and longer arms. So that was his beast mode. Oh, you know, I'm getting a message that it's looking a little dark. Let me adjust the lighting just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that looks a little bit better on my end too. So there he is. Let me make sure that is in focus. It's hard to focus on the shiny metal bits, but we can do it. So you can see he's got this vacuum metallized blue on him, which just looks fantastic. I mean, you know, this is a beautiful, beautiful toy. And then he's got a club, and he's got, you know, spare clubs on his back. I think that I have more than one of these, because I think he only came with 2 clubs, and I've given him 3. But nonetheless, the surfboard is built into the legs. And unlike most of the extra gimmicks that they used to put into a lot of the toys, this was a gimmick that was featured prominently on the show. He was always seen hovering around on this board, probably because it was an easy way for them to animate the character moving around, far more than having him do walk cycles and swing through the jungle and stuff like that. So it's a case where the extra thing was something that may have been easier for them to animate, and at the same time showcased the feature of the toy. And so this kind of became part of Optimus Primal's identity. There have been several versions of Optimus Primal that have kind of been homages that reference the surfboard in one way or another. So that is Optimus Primal. And then you had other things happen in the show. I believe at this point in the show, Optimus Primal takes on the spark of the original Optimus Prime. Or was he holding on to the Matrix? I forget which it was. Because I think that it was Megatron who took the original Megatron's unwilling spark into his body to turn into a dragon. Optimus Primal either took Optimus's spark or he took the Matrix. And the Matrix turned him into what was also called in the toy world Transmetals 2 Optimal Optimus. And that, so here, I'm going to move things around so that you can see what we're talking about. That is where we get this guy right here. This is Optimal Optimus, and this is an amazing toy. This toy is just fun. It is probably one of the most enjoyable toys in the Transformers line. Like, you know, there's been a lot of really great Transformers toys, but this one stands out amongst them all as being distinctive and a lot of fun. So, oh, Joy is here. So, wait here. A toast to Joy. Welcome, Joy. Always glad to see you. And Kyoji says it was the spark, but the spark holder resembled the Matrix. Okay, so now we know. So, a toast to Kyoji. Thank you once again, Kyoji, for helping, you know, the old memory banks here, because you know, you have to dust off the RAM every now and then. You blow on it and then plug it back into the slot.
Now we know. And knowing is half the battle.
So That one's for you, Kyoji. So, yeah, we have Optimal Optimus. And at this point, you can see how Optimus Primal has really come into his own. He is no longer in any way, and really, even by the time that they got to Transmetal's Optimus, he had departed sharply from the original Gen 1 Optimus Prime. But you get to Optimal Optimus, and if there were any attempts to try and connect him to the original Optimus Prime, then we would have seen windows in the chest, and we would have seen a red and blue color scheme rather than purple and orange and gray. So, at this point, he is really just, he is his own guy. He is Optimal Optimus, and he is amazing. So let's just take a quick look at Optimal Optimus. I've got knockoff Optimal Optimus guns on him right now. The actual orange guns that these are based off of are in storage somewhere, and we will find them at some point, but not tonight. So yeah, the original guns, they looked exactly like these, except they were orange. They might have had some silver highlights on them. Some red highlights, so some orange and red highlights, but nonetheless, you can see that they completely knocked them off, so much so that they fit into the original perfectly. He also had these panels that went around the forearms, and I have those. Unfortunately, these have not aged well. Let's go ahead and show these on the side camera. So you can see these are supposed to be gray, and they have yellowed a lot, and the plastic has become extremely brittle. So you can see where this post plugs into the arm, the post broke off and just broke right out of the plastic. And when it broke, it shattered into many, many pieces. So yeah, these are going to need some help. I'm not sure what to do to redeem these things, but they are in bad shape, and what concerns me is the brittleness. So yeah, I'm just setting these aside, but they do exist. And it doesn't make that big of a deal. It doesn't change his design that much, except that they're just an extra thing that goes around here. It makes his jet mode look a little bit more jet mode-y. It's not really a very convincing jet mode, admittedly. So you have let's go ahead and take the guns off. So you have your robot mode here. And he's got big guns here, and he's got a cockpit that opens, even though there were no figures to put inside. It's a spark chamber, yes. A spark chamber with a chair for the spark to sit in. So, it's a cockpit. So, anyway, he, of course, is still extremely posable, and his proportions are quite dynamic. He's got very long, hulking arms and stubby legs that still kind of harken back to his gorilla origins. And he looks great. I mean, he just looks great. This is just such a cool toy. This is the kind of toy that you don't even have to have a story behind it to pick this up and just want to play with it. It is big, it is husky, it's cool looking. He's got hands with grabby fingers and a posable thumb, and when the batteries are good, then he lights up. I mean, he's a cool thing. And then you turn him into a gorilla. It's a robot, well, sort of a robot gorilla. It's sort of a techno-organic gorilla at this point. And so we just to show, this is Optimus Primal's Transmetals 2 robot mode, and you can see how he is more organic. His face is organic, and he's got muscles in the chest, and still very robot-y legs, but yeah. So you know, we showed that. There you go. You get, Monica did that. So there's many times when Monica's afraid to transform these for fear of breaking them, and she conquered her fear tonight. So a toast to Monica for conquering your fear. So you have Optimal Optimus, and let's go ahead and turn him into a gorilla.
Brilliant scheming, Glomgold.
Yes, brilliant scheming, Glomgold. So you're gonna take the wings and fold them down, and then you're gonna do this neat maneuver with the arm where it just tucks up inside that, which makes the arm longer and also brings it closer to the body. And we can do the same thing on this side. And then the head just closes into that compartment there. And then we're gonna take this whole apparati. I've decided that the plural of apparatus is apparati, and I don't care what anyone who actually knows grammar says about that. So you're going to tip this forward and rotate it around like that. You're going to rotate these blue discs. I know it's hard to see here, but the discs rotate like this. And there's these little holes right in the side here that peg into the little nub right there. In an ideal universe. There we go. And then that goes like that. Okay, at this point, we can take the arm, we can rotate it around like that. We can flip the hand over and move the thumb around, which turns it from a right hand into a left hand. Or, yeah, that's a left hand. And so we're going to do the same thing with the arms on this side. We're going to rotate that disc around just like that, and then line it up with the nub, snap it in, switch the arm around, flip the hand over, and put the thumb into the correct position, and there you go. And then we've got, so the chest is on this thing, and you just open it up, and then you can poke up and get the gorilla head to come out, and then you close it back up and get it to peg back into those holes. Oh, and here, you know, I almost forgot the most important part. So you're going to open that up, and you expose the gorilla head, and then you take this piece right here, which has these two wheels. You're going to close them together like this, and then tuck it up into the chest like that, and then close everything back down and peg those into the blue discs. So now he's got the gorilla head, and then, as with before, you're going to pivot at the waist. And then there's a double joint inside the knee here. So you just bring it up. I'm gonna try and make it so that you can see this. So here it is. You see how it's moving. Maybe it'll be easier for you to see from this side. So you see how that's moving. You bring it up like that to expose that knee joint, and so now the knee joint's up here rather than in the calf. And you do that on both sides. Oh, whoops, I did that backwards. He was supposed to have the elongated legs for the robot mode. So you're actually going to collapse that double joint down into the legs for the gorilla mode. And here you go. He now has a techno-organic gorilla mode, which is really badass. I mean, you know, you see that coming at you, and I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to mess with that. Even if I'm a red dragon, I don't necessarily want to mess with that. Here, let's go ahead and show it on the other camera. So there he is, and once again, he still is maintaining a lot of posability and a lot of points of articulation, and he's just very, very dynamic. So that is the beast mode of Optimal Optimus. So let's see. This is from Machiavellic. So Machiavellic has a comment. Yo, Clay, I have a weird plural pronunciation question, if you don't mind. The plural of prince in English is princes, but the word princess also exists. How do you pronounce them? Well, in reading the question, I said princes and princess. Which to me begs the question, what do you call the plural of princess? And I've decided that it's princessi, because that's how I like to make plurals. Princessi. There is one princess. There are multiple princessi. Yes, I'm owning that. Because I good at grammar. Thank you for that. I want that on a t-shirt. I good at grammar. So that is Optimal Optimus. But here's the thing about Optimal Optimus. He also had 2 vehicle modes. You know, vehicle modes. Now, I will admit that these vehicle modes aren't exactly the most convincing vehicle modes I've ever seen. But he has them. So you have, let's see. I'm gonna try and remember this. I'm not gonna walk you through it because I don't remember the exact steps. But we're gonna do it anyway. So we're going to open up the gorilla chest, and I'm going to expose that wheel again. And then I'm going to tuck the gorilla head in. And then we're going to take the whole backpack assembly, which has the spark chamber, aka cockpit, and the cannon backpack all at once. We're going to rotate all of that around. And then we're going to bring the arms forward. So Monica very kindly brought up a picture. And honestly, it's not that hard to do it, because it's one of those things where, unlike a lot of the more traditional vehicle transformers, where you know, you really have to have everything lined up perfectly to have it turn into a thing, his going together is a little bit more ambiguous. So now, one thing that I noticed is that he's got this angled peg right here. And there's a hole right here that fits that hole. So I'm going to plug that arm peg right into that hole. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And you get that by rotating the forearm and then pivoting it a little bit at the elbow. And then that allows everything to just fit together perfectly. And then we're going to rotate the fists so that the knuckles kind of bang together, because that's good. And then we're going to rotate these wings back like this, and we're going to fold, we're going to turn the waist, a little pivot at the waist, and then we're going to flip the feet like that, and there's a peg in the legs and a socket in the other leg, so those do peg together. And, oh, actually, you know what? I shouldn't have pivoted at the waist. Here, let's unpivot at the waist, because these tail fins need to be up, the feet need to go back like that, and then these side panels right here have wheels on them. Those fold down to give it wheels. And then you just have to kind of figure out how to position the legs so that the wheels all are on the same plane. And that is pretty close to how that goes. You know what? Here, this also, the spark chamber, aka cockpit, also comes forward like that. And I wonder if we can do, let's see, does that, nope, okay, so that's just gonna stay like that. All right, so there we go. Put those like that. And so let's show this on the other camera. So he has this vehicle mode. Oh, you know what? I've done the chest wrong here. Wait, this chest. Let's disengage that. And there we go. And now I just need to get the arms to line up again, which is a lot harder since now that I've moved everything around. There we go. And there we go. And there we go. Okay, that's not right either. That is... It's really hard to figure it out while I'm leaning over on camera. Okay, so I'm going to pull that out. We're going to pull the body down like this. And then tip it forward. We're going to bring the cockpit forward. And then there we go. And there we go. All right. Bam. Thank you for that. That was helpful. So there we go. Now the body is pegged into the blue wheels. The cockpit is now forward over top of the front tire, and the wheels are lining up with that. So now let's go ahead and show this on the other camera. Oh, let me put the legs together. There we go. And other camera. Bam. It's something like that. There we go. So That is the thing. Let me move that out of the way. He's big. Takes up a lot of room, but that is his land-based vehicle mode. And it is definitely a what the hell. But it's not without coolness. It's just it's obviously not any kind of an Earth vehicle. It is just an alien, weird-ass, wheeled vehicle. But, honestly, if you're a robot that has a vehicle mode, then what does it, do you really need to look like a car unless you're on another planet disguising yourself? Which, at this point, he's not disguising himself. It's purely utilitarian, and he turns into this. So that was mode number 3, and then the air mode. So with the air mode, we're going to take the chest and kind of tuck it underneath. It's sort of like turning him back into a robot. There we go. And Megatron only had 3. Robots in Disguise Megatron, depending on how you look at it, had 9 or 10 or 11. He was advertised as having 6. So, and they were also very, very, kind of contrived and, not... Some of them required more imagination than others. So, then there's the jet mode, which I realized at some point in my life that Optimal Optimus's jet mode is kind of evocative of a bat. They're kind of reaching back to the bat look. Because at that point, so I don't see what they, oh wait, here. I think I know what they did. I don't think that they had the wheel exposed at all, and they just had the gorilla head underneath. So, there. So there is... What was that? Oh, okay, so it's really very similar to Optimus Prime, or Optimal Optimus, in his gorilla mode, reaching up. But, reaching up and spreading his wings. So there we go. It's this. That is his jet mode, and again, it's kind of a Cybertronian what the hell, but it's an extra mode, and if you're a robot that normally can't fly and you want to be able to fly, then hey, you get to be able to do this. So there you have it. That is Optimal Optimus and his many extra modes, which honestly, this is a case where this is just a cool toy. And normally I would be very, very harsh on modes like this that require so much suspension of disbelief in order to imagine what it is. But I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way that it's built, or maybe it's the fun factor of playing with him and seeing what you can do with him. But I love this toy. Would I like to guess his original price? I'm going to guess that this toy was originally $39.95. That is my guess. Does anybody else want to guess the original price of Optimal Optimus? Let's find out here. What? Holy! If I would have had money back when this first came out, I would have bought 8 of them. These were $19.99. $19.99. Now wait a minute here. Bring me that Prime, that current Optimus Prime with the trailer that's dinky. Because I just want to make a comparison here. This was $19.99 when it came out. Oh, here. I have one of these arms kind of up higher than the other. I don't know how I did it. Yeah. Okay, so 1999, 59, 49. So more than 2, like 2.5 of these equals this. And, well, and then let's not forget about this. This was $179. I'm going to be honest. We thought we were getting a pre-order, and I was like, well, we'll pre-order it, and then we'll see if maybe we have some better options. And it turned out to just be ordering. And by the time we realized, we did try to cancel. I'm just gonna say, we tried to cancel, and it said, nope, too late, it's on its way. And I haven't sent it back, so I guess I've accepted the $179. But I mean, that's more than I pay for like 2 weeks worth of groceries. That's more than my cable bill. This is a significant part of my monthly income. So when I whine about how tight our budget is, this is my fault. So I'm just owning my culpability in my own situation here. Here you go. But yeah, so when this came out, $19.99. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I think that's what makes all of the weirdness of this okay to me, is that it's just fun. It's got a lot going on, but not a whole lot of fiddliness where you're fighting with a bunch of pieces that are in the way that keep other stuff from moving. It's not hard to play with. It's fun to play with. And I guess that's why I'm not so critical of completely absurd vehicle modes like this one, because I'm enjoying myself while I'm trying to figure it out. So I love this toy. And you know, it is showing its age, and I get a little bit nervous when I have to move things that don't feel like they want to move, because we've already seen how some of the plastic has become very brittle, and some of it has yellowed, and you know, it's unfortunately it's plastic, and plastic may not go anywhere in a landfill, but it doesn't last forever, at least not in its useful form. And so 3 years ago, well, I guess at this point 4 years, we are now in 2021, we had Power of the Primes, and they created this for Power of the Primes. This is Optimus Primal's feet. There they are. They look great. Oh, we'll move the camera up. So this is Power of the Primes Optimal Optimus. And so it is a loving homage to the original Optimal Optimus. You can see how they really went out of their way to capture the likeness very, very well. He's a little bit smaller, and he lacks some of the features, specifically the extra modes. So let's go ahead and take a look at Optimal Optimus here. You can see him in his in his different angles. There's, you know, there's something going on the back here. You can't tell at all what's going on. That's a complete surprise. But he looks great. He's got a spark chamber here that contains it's an Enigma, but it's in a matrix holder, which all of the primes came with something like this. But that's a fantastic detail. I honestly, didn't we all want that to be in our original Optimal Optimus? And then just for decoration, he's got some wings sticking up there. He is definitely a lot cheaper in his manufacturing than the original. He is lighter. I have had to do a lot of joint tightening because he was a bit floppy. Still a beautiful, beautiful toy, but he was probably at the $39, maybe the $49 price point. I think $39, and so twice as much as his essentially 20, like almost a 30-year-old counterpart. And but you know, that's inflation for you. So for Power of the Primes, the Prime figures featured a very, very interesting gimmick. And while most of the line-wide gimmicks I can take or leave, I have to say that this gimmick I thought was really, really interesting, and I liked what they did with it in each of the toys that I got that featured it. So it was called the Evolution gimmick, and what it did was it had the base form of a Prime robot in armor, essentially power armor that represented their evolved state. So in the case of Optimus Prime, you had the truck cab transform into Orion Pax, which then combined with the trailer to turn it into a very, very good likeness of the Optimus Prime body that we all know and love. With Rodimus Prime, you had the front vehicle was detachable and became Hot Rod in his sports car mode. It wasn't even like a little sporty truck or whatever the hell the Gen 1 Rodimus Prime front section was. Essentially a camper front with robot legs sticking out the back. No, it was his race car mode, and it turned into Rodimus, and then he combined with his trailer to turn into Rodimus Prime. So for this one, we have Optimal Optimus in his Optimal Optimus body, and he looks the part. And then you have So you have the top portion here, which transforms right here. Oh, I should have rotated the head. So we're going to rotate the head and take off these guns here, and then we're going to maneuver that. So there's a bunch of joints happening here, and you kind of get these ones to go down, and then like that, and then maneuver it so that it all goes together like that. It almost seems like magic. Honestly, the way that all that stuff, I mean, look what it does inside there. It's performing magic to get that to line up with that. And then you have this, which becomes one flat surface. There's a reason for that, and we will get to that. And I believe that these attach somewhere. I don't remember where off the top of my head, and I don't want to get hung up on it. So Babs says, "Hey Clay, what is the most complicated transformer you own?" Okay, I'm not going to do this. This is Masterpiece Megatron. Actually, do you think this one's the most complicated, or do you think that the original Masterpiece Megatron? Oh, are you? Oh, okay. Are you sure? Because oh yeah, this is the okay. So this is the original Masterpiece Megatron. This is quite possibly the most complicated transformer that I own. And I'm not going to transform it right now. That's something that we will save for a separate live stream where you're just watching me transform one transformer for about 35 to 40 minutes. Now, this is the newer Masterpiece Megatron, which, to be honest, is a far, far better design. And it is also one of the single most complicated transformers that I own. I don't know which one is worse. They are both painfully difficult to transform. I think that this one's worse. I think that it is, in terms of difficulty and complexity, because whereas this one mimics a lot of the Gen 1 Megatron moves, just adding a lot of detail and a lot of extra bits to give him a more cartoon-accurate robot mode, this one goes in a completely new direction to give you a better robot mode and a better scale too. You know, it's still a little bit oversized for the handgun, but it just feels like a big handgun, whereas this is, when I look at this, I think, you know, in order for the scale to be correct for this, I would have to be 4. You know, I would have to have my 4-year-old hand that can't quite reach the trigger. But yeah, so one of these two is the single most complex transformer that I own. And at some point this year, we will do those. And I'm going to make sure that I am good and chemically lubricated when we do, because that'll make it extra fun. So, anyway, so you have the armor here, and it has a gorilla head, which folds out of the chest, and then that rotates around here like this. Well, here, let's rotate it around while it's inside this cavity here. And then you bring the gorilla head forward, and then the blue discs slide down like that. They just pivot, you know, and they're on a nice clicker. I like the clicker. And then we can do that same move where we just kind of tuck the shoulder up like that to elongate the arm. It has similarly jointed hands. And then we pivot at the waist. And then we have similarly jointed legs with that double joint, which is much easier to see in this one because there's so much less going on with this toy. So you're going to see how that joint just goes down into the calf. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then you can take the wing things and just drop them down by the sides here. And so now you have the gorilla mode. And so what they've done is you take the gorilla mode here, and he's got these rectangular slots on his feet that peg in to these rectangular hooks, you know, these kind of tabs on the little backpack thing. And see, there's another pair here. And so now what we've got, even though this is Optimal Optimus and his version didn't do this, they have incorporated the Transmetals 1 surfboard so that in gorilla mode he rides a surfboard, because attention to, you know, the people that designed this really appreciated this toy. You can see that there's so many little things that they did to try and capture this character and his heritage. And yes, you know, okay, so there's so many things that they did like this. I set my T on top of my mouse to allowing him to be able to do stuff like this. That I really appreciate it. They didn't have to do it, but it works. It does work. Now personally, while I appreciate that he can do it, I don't ever do that. When I'm playing with this toy, I don't look at this as, oh, Colleen wants to know what kibble is. So, Colleen, do you remember the dog food commercial for Kibble and Bits and Bits and Bits? You know, originally it was Kibble and Bits, and then they made a version of the dog food that had more of the chewy bits, which is what the dogs tend to like, and they called it Kibble and Bits and Bits and Bits. Whatever the case, I think that the dog in the commercial was like Kibble and Bits and Bits and Bits and oodles and boodles and bundles of bits and stuff like that. Well, at some point, people started referring to the extra bits that would hang off of a Transformer character, you know, like this, as kibble, because it's kibble and bits, you know, like these extra panels that really don't do anything. They're just there because they have to be. That's kibble. Anything that is just extra stuff. So here, we just happen to have a knockoff of Leo Convoy that I got probably at Big Lots, I think. It's very cheaply made. You can feel how cheap the plastic is, but it's kind of awesome. And you see I did some painting on him to give him a more Optimus Prime look. But like the lion head and all of these pieces, that's kibble. If you've ever seen me show Nemesis Prime that turns into a woolly mammoth, that is probably one of the worst offenders of kibble. Masterpiece Starscream, he has these extra things hanging off of his hips. That's kibble. So anything, you know, the thing on the back, the nose cone on the back with the extra panel, these things, you know, those are all, that's all kibble. Because kibble and bits and bits and bits. Kibble and bits, bits and bits. So that is, and my camera's doing funky things. I don't think that my camera likes me referring to that stuff as kibble and bits. Anyway, so I look at this and see, this is Optimus Primal. This transforms into Optimus Primal. And the idea that Optimus Primal transforms into a surfboard, kind of a mismatched surfboard too. You know, you've got dark gray back here and then light gray and silver up here. The two halves don't really mesh very well together. It's necessary because of the combination feature that allows this to make up the portions of Optimal Optimus, while this makes up his original Gen 1 mode. But what I do when I'm playing with this toy, because I do play with my toys, it's important to play with your toys, is I transform him like this. I just fold that around and see, he even fits together nicely. And then that to me looks like a pretty believable little space shuttle, you know, some kind of a little shuttlecraft. And then you can take the guns and put them up here. And I would say that this is a far more believable flying vehicle mode than the pseudo bat thing that we got out of this. Don't get me wrong, I love Optimal Optimus, but his flying mode is a little bit phoned in. So that's what I do with him. The other criticism that I have is that you've got this gorilla thing here, which is awesome, but it is completely hollow in the back. There is just a gaping chasm here, and it's hard to ignore. Not when he is separate and as. So Monica was just asking me, doesn't he have the guns that go over his shoulders? Not when Optimus Primal is separated and turned into a surfboard. No, he is not. I don't know if there's a way to combine this in gorilla mode. Oh wait, yes. You know what? I have found a way, but it's not something that I found in the instructions because I didn't read the instructions. But nonetheless, what I have done, let's see, I did a thing. So, I'm trying to remember what I did. I did something. And it was a thing. It was quite a thing. It was an important thing. But I remember doing something that allowed me to plug this, you know, to kind of hook this onto the back. But it was... Are we doing this again? So, I don't know. Yeah, I was able to figure out a way to have him wear Optimus Primal on his back in gorilla mode, which did help with the hollowness, but that gaping hole is really hard to ignore. Now here, let me show you just before we move on to the upgrade kit, which, believe it or not, is actually the whole reason why we're doing this video. I'm going to show, here is the Optimus Primal mode, and the idea here is that this is Optimus Primal before the Beast Wars, before he crash landed on a prehistoric Earth and got a gorilla mode. So let's do that. And oh, Sea Striker 87 is here. Well, a toast to Sea Striker 87. I don't think that I've seen you in the chat before. If you have been, I am sorry for forgetting, but if this is your first time, welcome, and I hope that you have a really good time at this live stream. So thank you for joining us. Everybody, a toast to Sea Striker 87. And by the way, Sea Striker 87 says, I think not all kibble is bad, frankly, because sometimes it defines a character's design. And yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you. The kibble on Nemesis Prime, the Mammoth version, it frames him. It gives him such a distinctive and menacing silhouette that he is my favorite version of Nemesis Prime, despite the fact that if you take off all of the kibble, you could actually piece it together to pretty much build a woolly mammoth. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Sea Striker, that that kibble isn't necessarily bad. Sometimes it adds to the character of the Transformer, and very oftentimes becomes part of that Transformer's identity. You could make the argument that Beast Wars Megatron, the first dinosaur version, that had a dinosaur head for a hand and a dinosaur tail pincher for a second hand, that those things were kind of kibble because they weren't traditional robot parts, but they are distinctive as part of who he is. So, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Nonetheless, the reference maintains itself as kibble and bits. So, this is Optimus Primal, and the idea, as I mentioned earlier, was that this is what he was on Cybertron before he ended up crash landing on a prehistoric Earth. And he does have some back kibble. You can choose which way you like it better. I think this is what the instructions recommend. Very oftentimes I'll just do one of these because, I feel like a little bit of a shorter backpack that's longer is still more desirable than a much bulkier but squatter backpack. But anyway, so that is Optimus Primal. And as you can see, he's a very nicely sculpted little robot. He looks like his Gen 1, not his Beast Wars counterpart, except if he didn't turn into a gorilla. So here, let's put these side by side. We've got, let me try and stand him up. There we go. So that is Optimus Primal. And then Optimus Primal. So, they're once again they have lovingly homaged the original with this toy. So there's a lot of respect being paid to the heritage of this character as they're doing this character, which I feel like is a phenomenal undertaking and really well worthy of notice and praise, because the designers really put a lot into creating this, and it's a nice little character. If I just got this as one of the lower price point guys, then I would think he was cool. I might be more critical of the space shuttle back and the robot that folds up into a box for a bottom, but I'd still accept him. So Sea Striker 87 has a controversial question for you. Are wings kibble? Ooh. I'm going to say, okay, let's think about this. I'm going to say that in most cases, wings by definition are kibble. You know, most of the Transformers that fly don't need their wings to fly. Megatron flies, he doesn't have wings. Most of the Gen 1 Autobots, even though they flew around during the pilot episode, later on, they kind of retroactively said Autobots don't fly unless they have like a jetpack or something, and yet they did have wings. So since they aren't functional parts of their robot anatomy, I'm going to say that wings usually are kibble. That being said, just like you said earlier, that doesn't make them bad. Starscream without his wings just doesn't look right. You know, I mean, honestly, can you imagine Starscream without the wings? Yeah, he would rather leave his house without his pants than his wings. You know, the wings are what make him look badass. You know, we look at Prowl, and he's got his door wings here, and they look great. He doesn't fly, but he's got wings. Yeah, I'm gonna say that wings are kibble, but it doesn't mean that kibble is bad. Yeah, certainly. Okay, here's a great example. Omega Supreme has wings. Only his arms fly. In robot mode, he does not fly. So yeah, I'm gonna say wings are kibble. So, fellow Transformer aficionados out there who want to debate, I'm on. Let's do it. But we have to keep it respectful. So, yeah, that's it. And so, yeah, that's where I stand. Now, I will say that if a character actually uses their wings as their robot mode, then it's arguable as to whether they're kibble. But, you know, that also begs the question of, well, if kibble's functional, is it kibble? Scorponok has a tail on his back in robot mode, but he, you know, in most versions of Scorponok, he can use that tail to shoot. Is it still kibble? I feel like it sticks out from the, it's a bit that sticks out from the base robot mode, so, yeah. So Kyoji says, Power Glide is one exception with regard to wings, since his wings are the sides of his body, and his arms are formed from the wing engines. That's true. In robot mode, he doesn't really have wings, you know, because by the time that he's in robot mode, his wings are part of his body design. So yeah, Power Glide is one of the few Transformers with wings that loses their wings when they turn into a robot. Huh. So anyway, a toast to both Sea Striker and Kyoji for your keen insights on this controversial topic. Thank you for bringing this up. This is good. You know, the part at the bottom that has all the honey and booze is the best part of the drink. So, can I give this to you? Thank you. Sure. I mean, sure, if you don't mind, sweetie. Yeah, I want more. So yeah, now we've got Optimus Primal as pre-Beast Wars Optimus Primal, and then we've got his evolution into Optimal Optimus. And here's and I think I've mentioned this before in regards to this toy. what this toy represents to me is the potential that pretenders have never realized. Because essentially at this point, you have a robot with a bestial outer shell that is part of him that could function as an independent entity. So imagine if they reimagined pretenders like this, where you had posable outer shells that were cool things, not giant humans in suits, okay? The play value on that just stinks, because those human outer shells don't scale with any other human. Not that you had humans in the Transformers toy line anyway, but when you had Nebulons and stuff, they were this big. And so then you have pretenders, and I know that in the Japanese show, they would show them shrinking down to human size, which makes the human outer shells make more sense, but it's still something that makes it very hard to play with the rest of your Transformers line. And so, you know, that incompatibility, I feel like they would be better off to have the Autobots just be some other kinds of beasts, you know, Maximals. But the Decepticons, they turned into giant monsters. Nothing's wrong with that. Giant monsters are great. So imagine giant monster outer shells that were posable and could be played with, and then inner robots that transformed into stuff, and they could combine and yeah. So Hasbro, if you're listening, you don't have to give me credit for that idea. That one's for free. So this is a cool toy. I like this toy. I think that it's been designed well, and I think that the designers really did a loving, respectful homage to the original character, and so, you know, that's fantastic. But it is missing a few things. Of course, there's that problem of this gaping chasm. Thank you. And there's also a complete lack of the other two, admittedly kind of phoned in vehicle modes. And that is where this comes in. This is the DK-08, which strangely enough does not stand for Donkey Kong. Apparently all of this company's upgrade kits, this is a company called DNA Design, and all of their upgrade kits are labeled with a DK number. I initially thought that it stood for Donkey Kong because he turns into a monkey. Who knew? But what this is this is a set of upgraded parts so that you can turn Optimal Optimus into something a little bit more like the original Optimal Optimus, which, oh my gosh, poor guy. See if you can... Oh, you have no idea. Okay. Fair enough. So let's go ahead and let's open up this upgrade kit. Now, I have already opened this and put it on and played with it, and then I put it back in the package just so that you could see what you would get if you ordered this upgrade kit. How much was this? Was this about 20? This is about 20. So, and we got it on Big Bad Toy Store, I think. So, let's go ahead and we'll go to the other camera. There is the upgrade kit, and you know, they've got some nice packaging too. I'll give them credit. This is very clean and very nice, and you know, it has pictures of what you get on the back and what it's going to enable Optimal Optimus to do, and And see, it makes it a point to say it does not include Power the Prime's Optimal Optimus. And there's some stuff on the bottom, and there's that on the side, and that on the top. So let's go ahead and open this, and we have our nice little tray. It had instructions. I don't need the instructions because I've already played with this once. And so we're going to lift off. Well, here, first I'll show you everything in the package. Very nicely laid out. Pretty straightforward. And now, let's lift off this layer. And I will set that aside. And then we will take out, so it comes with 2 extra Optimal Optimus guns and a double wheel with connection points and longer wings. These are nice. These are very nice. And then we've got wheels for his legs and a couple of Optimus Primal swords. So let's take the other half of the tray and just set that aside. Very good. And so right away, let's take these out. We will give Optimus Primal his swords because that's important. Put him into a cool pose. See if we can get him to actually stand. And then we'll focus in on the camera, and now he has to say something like, "You want to fight? Well, that's just Prime." Because, see, that's the thing that he used to say on the show, and he would be like, "Well, that's okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm gonna drink this now." So, we'll just set Optimus or Optimus Primal aside here for the moment. Set aside these extra bits. Now let's go ahead and show what we do with these extra parts. So we have these, okay, these little wheel things, and look at how nicely those are made. Those are really nicely done. The paint deco, the hinge is very nicely molded, and it's the tolerances are very good. It feels nice. It's a really nice little part. And so I believe that this one, so what they've done is they've got this little post right in here, and that post engages that hole on his leg. So let's just go ahead and snap that in place just like this. There we go. And then we can fold that back like that. And then we'll take this one, and that one will just go right onto this leg. And it just snaps on like that. And it fits beautifully. I mean, it is perfect. Now, the wings, we need to take off the old wings. And so I can get my fingernail in here and just kind of pull that out. And then take one of the new ones and just maybe, there we go. Just pop it right in there. And see, that just fits in like it was made for it, because, you know, it sort of was. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to stick my fingernail in there, or you could use like an X-Acto knife or a small screwdriver. there we go. Now, you don't want to put too much pressure on this. And that's why I'm using my fingernail and not a screwdriver, because I'm less worried about breaking this tab. You break that tab, you're going to be very, very upset. So, and then we just snap this in, just like that. So, there's that. And of course, you've got the guns, which are made with these little tabs that can slot in to these little slots in the fist so that he can hold it like that. Whoops. There we go, just like that. So he can hold his gun. And we could put the other one in, but I'm not gonna. Now, these will probably end up on something else at some point, but not right now. So we'll set those aside. And now you have this wheel. So this, of course, splits into two pieces. And it sticks together really, really well. There we go. And see, we've got these very nicely folded fan blade designs. And then the wheel hubs. These are really nice parts. They're just very, very nice parts. Now, if I have a criticism of what was done, it's that you have to take these wheels off for every different mode. They don't just snap on and then transform with the figure like the leg pieces. And I get that there's limits to what they can do without interfering with how the rest of it works. So it's just something that you're going to have to, if you are interested in this set, you just kind of have to accept it. Just go with it, accept it. Once you've done it once, it is not really hard to remember how to get it together. Probably Gorilla Mode is the hardest, and that's what I'm going to show you now. So you take this, and there's these little tabs here, and you have to fit it inside this space in such a way that these little tabs, okay, so we have these little tabs right here on either side. They're like ears. They're going to end up going down into these slots. And then this front is going to go into this space here. And getting it, because they both move independently of each other, getting everything to line up just right is a little bit fidgety. Getting one, no problem. Getting them both is a little bit trickier, but you get used to it. At least I assume you get used to it. I haven't gotten used to it yet, but you can see that I'm getting them in there right now. Okay, there we go. And so you might be able to see how that little tab that's right there, okay, right there, that little tab, you see how it's in that slot on this side of the plastic, and that's happening on both sides. And now I can take this and I can get both of these little tabs to slot down in there and then lock in place. And that fills that gaping chasm perfectly. It looks great. That hole bugs my OCD. It causes me stress. And for a toy that I really, really like, I think that's why it causes me stress. If I didn't like this toy, it wouldn't bug me as much. But I really do like this toy, and so that one glaring thing really, really just caused, like, there's a nerve cluster in here, right about there. And it would pulsate in the back of my head whenever I saw that. Having that filled in like that, and having it filled in so nicely, is like, oh my gosh, oh, that feels so good. Oh, whew. You know what? Here's a toast to having that filled in. And I see Kyoji commenting on parts forming wheels just like the original Psykill, which the wheels on Psykill are kibble, but an iconic part of his silhouette that's important to be there. We are establishing like consistent rules of Transformer design on this live stream right here. Okay, Hasbro should like be taping this, because you know we're all a smart group of people. Just saying. So now we've got his gorilla mode, which is looking awesome. We've got Optimus Primal with his swords, and he looked good before, he looks better now. Here's the other thing. The swords have 5mm posts on the sides, which allow them to peg in to the sides of the gun for storage. And you could put both of them on one gun or have them on each gun. Machiavellic says, I know some fans really, really hate parts forming. On a scale from 1 to 10, what is your hatreds of parts forming? Okay, so that's not a simple answer. I can't just say a 1 to 10 because it depends on how it's used. The combat, or in this case, fossil characters from the War for Cybertron series, which are characters that are intended for parts forming. You know, Cog and Six Guns and Beowulf and Val Kilmer. I don't remember their names. You know, I really, really like these guys. They are guys that are built with the intent of being parts formers. And if anything, I wish that they were designed with more posts and more holes so that I could do more stuff with them. And in some cases, I've added some holes and posts to make them do
boom!
So
Inappropriate.
I don't know what I said. Oh, more holes than posts. Okay, you know, I'll give you that. You know, we showed Omega Supreme earlier. He is a parts former. He has very few transforming bits, and he is awesome. So, if the parts forming aspect of a toy is part of that toy's identity, then I have no hatred of parts forming. But there's a caveat. I got to use the word caveat. I feel hoity-toity. When parts forming is used as just a cheap and easy way to get out of solving a design problem for a character that otherwise is yeah, you know, here's a good example. This is Robots in Disguise Ultra Magnus. He is cool as stuff, for lack of better terms, which you are too young to hear, young man and young ladies. But in order to transform him into robot mode, you have to take off the legs. Everything else on him transforms. But in order to get him into robot mode, you have to take off the legs. Now, I realize that he's also a combiner, and he combines with Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime. And all of the extra bits of Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime come off, but It's armor. It's in pieces. Again, it's okay that that's parts forming. But this is the base robot that can't transform into a walking character without pulling his legs off. I hate that. It's like, and I know that you have to pull the legs off to combine it with Optimus Prime, but I'm sorry, it feels like a cheat. And it's one of the things that keeps this from being just about the most awesome version of Ultra Magnus that you could ask for. Here's another one. And you see this all the time. Cheetor. This is Kingdom Cheetor. This is the tail weapon. It's very obviously a cheetah tail, but look, they've put a pointy thing on the end, and it's sized so that he can hold it in his fist. So it's now a weapon. Really? Really? That's your solution to the design problem of having a robot turn into a cheetah? The whole point of normal transforming Transformers, the thing that I've always been captivated by, is their ability to change their shape, reconfigure themselves to completely change their identity. And like, one of the things that I always thought was amazing about the Gen 1 Dinobots is that they turn into really decent looking robots and turn into mechanical dinosaurs, and you don't have to pull off the tails. Especially Sludge. Sludge has that long neck and a long tail, and where does it go? They figured it out. They worked it into the design. Cheetor's tail comes off, and they put an ice pick on it and said, look, it's a weapon now. Come on. You know, now okay, we'll go ahead and show this. RC, for this one, she has the feature of taking off the back portion of the vehicle, and she can ride it or something. It really adds no... to me, it doesn't add anything. However, what I will say for the design of this one is that they designed it in such a way that you do not have to take off the back portion of the vehicle to turn her into a robot. It can just fold up and become kibble, and you don't detach it at all. The Kingdom or Earthrise Ironhide, you have to take off the entire roof of the van in order to turn him into a robot. So it's like you're not solving the design problem. You're just coming up with a cheat. You know, it's like, oh, I can take off the entire roof of this thing, and look, it's a riot shield. Is it? Really? So, yeah, when used as something that enhances the design, not as just an easy way around a problem, then I am completely okay with parts forming. Obviously, I'm a big fan of original Psykill here, and you have to take off like a third of this toy in order to transform him, and you know, the motor part, it doesn't even do anything, and that does bug me. But it's a little GoBot, so I accept it. Would I like it better if they had come up with a way to have the wheel maybe you know, this wheel is on a pivot point that can swing around and attach to his shoulder, yeah, I'd like that better. But I'm okay with it the way it is. And honestly, you look at Super Psykill, who does not have any parts forming, but he loses his iconic wheeled shoulder silhouette, and I have to say that I like this one better because he's just more distinctive. So yeah, it really depends on the application, and I wish that I could put, you know, really hard and fast rules to it as to what makes it okay and what makes it not okay. You know, in the case of Cheetor, it's, you know, at least even if he doesn't have his tail, he still looks like a cheetah, but he looks like a cheetah that doesn't have a tail. You know, with Optimus Primal, they made all the bits that come out of him, like his mace and the rockets and everything, where if you don't have these parts, no part of his alt mode is compromised. He's not missing pieces of gorilla if you don't have the missile, or you don't have the mace, or you don't have the sword. With Cheetor, if he loses his ice pick, then he no longer has a tail. And here's the other thing. They designed Cheetor with no place to put the ice pick when he's in robot mode. The only thing he can do is walk around holding his tail saying, "No, really, guys, it's a weapon." And all the other Maximals are like, "Okay, sure, whatever you say, Cheetor." Hey, Cheetor, you got your tail in your hand. Hey, quit yanking your own tail. And then he gets mad and he runs off, and somebody grabs his ice pick in mid-transformation. Then he has to run off without his tail. That's what happens. So, yeah, that's my feeling on parts forming. So it's a sliding scale depending on how it's implemented. I can't give it a steadfast 1 or a 10. Sometimes I like it. All right, so we've got Optimal Optimus here. He is in his gorilla mode. Let's go ahead and show what else these things can do. So we'll take that out of there, and we'll flip his head in. You know, we'll rotate it. Let's see, flip it in, rotate it around, and we'll put him into robot mode so that you can see robot mode. And I'm going to just set the weapons aside because you've seen the weapons. And we'll transform the legs correctly, just to be crazy and madcap. And give his feet there, and do that with his arms, and I think that those go like that. So there we go, and swivel at the elbow, make his hands face the right directions. And there we go. And now we take Optimus Primal, and we're going to fold the legs to the sides, put the arms in, and let's see, the arms peg into the hips like this. So there's these little tabs in the wrists, and they just go into the slots in the hip, right like that. Fold down the shoulders, open the chest, fold down the head, close the chest, rotate the legs to face with the toes in, and then bend at the knees to cover the fists. And there's these little tabs on the arm that go into this little hole right on the inside of the foot. And then we're going to take the rest of this, and we can do that. And then we are going to flip up the head and rotate it around and do that. And now we can take this and we can fit this onto here, and it just clicks right in. And now we can take these little guns and put them right here. And now with this, we're going to separate that, which, like I said before, is a little bit tricky, but what you can do is you can get a used Optimus Primal wing in there and use that to kind of force them apart. And so now you're going to flip out these tabs, and you see this little rectangular tab on the end here, right there. Well, that is going to peg in to this slot right here on Optimus Primal. It's a snug fit. There we go. And then this one goes just like that. There you go. And so now he's got, oh, snap that back in place. There we go. Looking good. If I wanted to, I could give him guns. I don't feel like it's necessary, but that is his robot mode. It looks good. Looks very nice. You know, the fan blades really work, and you know, they look like they belong. It's unfortunate that that there's really not a better way to solve that, but I'm okay with it because it really does add as a whole to the whole thing, and it is an upgrade kit. It's not a whole new design. It's just a $20 set of really nicely made parts to enhance an already pretty cool product. So we got that, and let me show that on the other camera so that you can get a good view of what he's looking like in his Optimal Optimus glory. And yeah, you know, he looks good. Yeah, I'm digging it. Digging it a lot. And these pieces on the legs, they just work so well. They fit in perfectly. If I didn't know that they were an upgrade kit, I'd have no idea that he didn't come this way out of the box. So that is really, really cool. But of course, that's not what we're really interested in here. What we want to see is the new vehicle modes. Now, I will say that the new vehicle modes aren't really any better than the original vehicle modes. You know, these kits aren't magic, but they do give him the ability to do the stuff that he wasn't able to do without the kit. So let's go ahead and let's go for the jet version. So I'm going to take Optimus Primal here. I'm going to fold in the robot head. I'm going to take these out. And I'm going to do that for right now. Essentially, I'm turning him into a surfboard. And then I'm going to just put the arms into an upright position with the with the shielded part of the arm facing upward. Oh, wait a minute. Upward is this way. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to put the wings out like this. Oh, I guess we leave the wheels up, maybe. Rotate at the waist. Now, unfortunately, Power the Prime's Optimal Optimus doesn't have anything to lock the legs together. You know, he doesn't work that way. So the legs are going to kind of free float. And now, so there is a rectangular tab right here, and then a rectangular slot down here. There's a rectangular tab here and a rectangular slot here. Those two line up, and that is how Optimus Primal sticks onto the back of Optimal Optimus, and then we can use those many joints here let's see, there's a way to do this. Wait a minute here. Wait here. There we go. Okay, so you just maneuver all the many joints there to get the cockpit to go down. Now, personally, I prefer having the wings or the wheels down. And I know that that's not the way that it's supposed to go, but I feel like having the wheels down, first of all, gives him landing gear, which, you know, he wouldn't necessarily have to land on wheels. He can transform and land on feet, but it's a vehicle mode, and I want it to be able to land. And it also takes some of the apparatus away from the wings that are on the back, so you can see them better, and they're exposed. So there's that. And you know what? I'm gonna check something here. Can I do a thing? Okay. Nope. I saw some little tabs on Optimus Primal's knees, and I wondered if they tabbed into the feet here. They do not, so, which is fine because it wouldn't look good anyway. But okay, so we're going to do that, and now we've got these things. And I don't think that the instructions for this kit actually came with any indication of what they wanted you to do with the wheels when it was in jet mode. It only showed you car mode. And if it did show you in air mode, well, I probably got rid of the instructions. So we're just gonna, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put these in a place, and it's gonna be a good place for these things. It's gonna be a great place. It's gonna be the best place ever for these pieces. I don't know where I'm gonna put them. They're gonna go somewhere. Guess I should have thought this out. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to put them right here in the front. There, I'm just going to put it in the front. And he's got landing gear. You can tell me if you hate that. I'm not sure I'm digging it. That's where it goes in the vehicle mode, but I'm not sure that I'm digging that. You know, he's got these. Here, let's get these apart. So these have these vents here, so I should probably try to integrate them in a way that the vents play into the air mode. Oh, you know what? Here, I got it. I know exactly where I'm putting these. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Tell me that isn't cool. That's pretty cool. So, with the longer wings, he actually has an acceptable whatever this jet mode was supposed to be, and then you can use these fans as kind of like a propulsion thing, and I'm digging that. You know, there may be other ways that I could incorporate these too. Maybe I could, let's see. Let's just kind of play with this a little bit. Because there's this conspicuous screw hole here. I'm trying to get it on the shoulder. I don't know if I can do it. Can I do it? Can I do it? It doesn't want to go. It doesn't want to fit. Okay. Well, nonetheless, yeah, I'm okay with that. So we've got a doable air mode, regardless of where you end up putting the wheels. And oh, by the way, you can take these and you can peg these in right here on top of. Boy, that doesn't want to fit there. Okay. Oh, they go back here on his legs. Okay, right on the back of Optimus Primal. So those fit right there, and they can store in both of the vehicle modes in that position. And then last but not least, let's do the land mode. And so for that, we need to put these back together. And then this plugs right into the, so there's just these little slots under here. And so we're just going to take those two pegs and we're going to press them into those slots. And they fit very, very nice. They are nice and tight. And there we go. I'm accidentally knocking off his tail wings. So now we take these little things. So there's this apparatus here which goes into the underside of the spark chamber. And then there's these little tabs which come out like this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to manipulate the arms. And probably the most difficult thing is actually getting Optimus Primal to stay in place while you're fiddling with all this other stuff. Because while those two rectangular posts are pretty secure for normal handling, once you start like really torquing at some stuff, this just wants to come out. There's just a lot of leverage playing against it. So now we're going to maneuver the arms, and there is a 5mm hole right here. Oh, and that thing came off. There it is. So we don't have to take that off though. So just snap that right back on here. So we've got this 5mm hole right in the thumb, and that is going to go onto this 5mm post right there. So we just need to manipulate the arms so that that lines up like that. And then you can close the fist. And then we can do the same thing on this side. And then we'll just tighten up the shoulders a little bit. There we go. And do that. And then we just need to put the legs into a position where the wheels are on the same plane as that front wheel. And that is our vehicle mode. So let's go ahead and show this on the other camera. There it is. We'll get these little extra wings out of the way. And bam, that is him. Is that English? That is him? There he is. That is he. He good robot. Ugh, robot, not suck. And we'll just add these. Now, of course, there's nothing pegging the legs into position. And that does make this vehicle mode kind of unstable. And maybe with a little bit of extra kit bashing, I can correct that. It probably would not take much to add a peg and a socket for the legs to join together and just kind of retain themselves, and maybe create something that allows this part to connect to that part. I may have to play with it, but nonetheless, this is a really good approximation of that original Optimus Primal vehicle mode. And I'm just taking these off because they don't want to stay on right now. Nonetheless, now this wheel, it does spin, but it doesn't spin freely. So a lot of times when I roll it, it just slides rather than rolling. Not a big deal, but nonetheless, that's pretty awesome. And I have to say that for these third-party companies that are creating these upgrade kits, my experience with the vast majority of them is that they're very, very well engineered and very well made, and they fill a niche that is left by the existing toys. And personally, I think it's great. I think it's awesome that so many of these toys have these kits available so that you can start with something that you really like and push it that extra bit. And as you know, I've been very, very happy with the upgrade kits available for combiners, giving them better hands and better feet. So yeah, I really like and encourage people to if you're into this stuff, check out the upgrade kits. You know, you can find a lot of them on Big Bad Toy Store. Every now and then they end up on Amazon. eBay is another good place for them. And, you know, they're not super cheap. But you know what? These toys aren't super cheap anymore. You know, this is like a $40, $50 toy at this point, and now I've added another 20 bucks to it. It's not a cheap toy. Or maybe I'm just old and my definition of cheap is outdated. But nonetheless, I really like these third-party companies. If I had the budget for it, I would probably buy a lot more of the third-party Transformers, because there's some gorgeous designs out there. And you know, I love the reimaginings, and generally the quality of these things is just top-notch. So that's it. Babs would like to see some Transformers Wolves. Do you have time to show a few quickly? Sure, I'll show wolves. So, this one is Silverbolt. Now, was Silverbolt purple, or is he a repaint? Oh, this is the original. Okay. He is missing some bits in the back here. But, you know, like I said, we got a lot of our Transformers, you know, a lot of our Beast Wars stuff secondhand off of eBay. And so some of these are in varying stages of completion. But nonetheless, very neat design. Very neat design. And then, oh yeah, I remember this one. So this one is Jawbreaker, and he is just, I mean, look at that. That is nightmare fuel right there. He is beautiful and hideous. He really reminds me of that Ravage repaint. So we have 3 versions of him. And this is the brown and black one this isn't the brown. No. The other one that we have is the Tripredicus Agent, which was meant to represent Ravage, the Tripredicus Agent. But yeah, he is really, really cool. He doesn't seem to want to stay in wolf form. Probably there's a full moon out. I hear that happens. But yeah, Jawbreaker. Really, really cool guy. And then this is Wolfgang. And to be honest, I don't remember this guy that well. Let me go ahead and turn him into wolf mode. Of course, this is one where they just decide to take off the tail and give it a gun. I do not approve. Just saying. So we're gonna bend back the legs here, and then bend forward the wolf legs. Oh, okay, so I see what's going on. We're going to take the feet and point the toe, and then fold it at the knee. And then we'll do the same thing with the other leg. And then we'll rotate the wolf feet forward. We're going to put the wolf head and close that around the robot head. And then we're going to take the arms of the robot and slide it forward into the chest. And then I'm betting that the arms do one of these numbers. Let's see. So the arms are going to tuck in against the chest, and then the wolf front legs are just going to kind of rotate down against the elbow, and then these side panels are going to snap up, and there's a tab there and a slot there, so we just kind of get those to go together. There's also a little hole here, and this nub on the top of the wolf leg is going to go in there, so that stuff's all going to snap together like that. Do the same thing on the other side. There we go. And then we close out that little panel, and I'm wondering if there's any extra. No, I think that's it. And then we take the gun and we're just gonna plug it right into. I feel like okay, yes. So you're also going to expand the midsection, and so now, you know, I think that you remember that piece? Yep. So when we were looking for pieces of Optimus Primal, Monica came to me with this piece that had a fur pattern in it, and it was conspicuously this shape. I think it goes on him. So thank you for asking about wolves, because now we know which guy this goes to. This is a whole lot of wolf butt. That's a lot of wolf butt. And it just plugs in. Is this guy's name Ironhide? Yeah, because it really kind of reminds me of what they did with Earthrise Ironhide. Just take off the top of the wolf, and that's fine. All right, so yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. That is him. Let's go ahead and show it on the other camera. You know, not a bad wolf mode. Not the most impressive Beast Wars guy that I've seen, but not bad. Certainly not bad. Not digging this whole, you know. I guess he's one of those werewolves that has to shed his skin in order to turn back into a humanoid. Yeah, that's what it is. And his tail is in a permanent I'm going to poop on your carpet position. So yeah, this guy is going to poop on your carpet. So there he is. And uno más, we've got Cybertron Snarl, and yeah, so this is from the Transformers Cybertron series, which means that he's got the Cyber Planet key, and he's from the Jungle Planet. And so let's go ahead and turn him into a wolf. Now, one thing that I really like that I'm seeing right away is that there's a place for him to store his planet key. Planet keys weren't a bad gimmick, but most of them, the only place to put them was in the feature, which meant that oftentimes there was weapons that were just kind of sticking out all over the place. There wasn't a clearly defined way of having them. You know, a lot of times I'd try and maybe shove them in halfway or something, but yeah, I've got a whole bunch of these in a container because they just don't go on the Transformers anywhere unless you want to activate the feature. So I really appreciate that they gave us Planet Key storage. I wish that they would have done that for so many more of those figures. Cybertron was not a terrible line, but it was not a high point in Transformers history. So all right, we've got some wolf legs that are in the back here, and we've got a fist that can go into the wrist, and we've got a wolf head here. We've got some conspicuous hinges on the chest here, so we're gonna fold those out, And then we've got a head that seems to be able to fold into there. And it kind of looks like the rest of the body can do this. So I'm guessing that this is a case where this wolf head can go like that. I think it's going to go, yeah. I think that the wolf head... Okay. The wolf head either goes like that or goes like that. I think that the wolf head goes like this. Actually, you know what? No. The wolf head goes like this. There is a little peg right here and a conspicuous hole right there. The peg goes into the hole like that. And then this is the underside of the wolf's neck. And I bet that it has a hole right there. And so... Oh, wait. No, what it's going to do is it's going to close like this. And it's going to go into the other side of the head, just like that. That's creative. I like that. That is a really unique and interesting solution. And then his arm can go up like that to, I think, does the arm do that? Probably does something. Yeah, okay, yes. The arm just kind of tucks in like that. And then his legs come down. We're going to rotate the wolf legs down. Yeah, it's kind of weird that they... Huh. Alright, so, yeah, it doesn't rotate around. You know, the knees are kind of in the way of being able to put him into a more wolf-like position. Yeah, I'm wanting to bend it more, but I guess the legs just kind of go back like that. And then, of course, the tail is a gun, and you plug it in. Because there's no other way to do a tail than to just plug it into the ass and make it a gun. This tail ass has like the impression of a blade in it. You know, I really liked what they did up here, and then they did... Okay, anyway. So that is Cybertron Snarl. And, you know, you get past the ass gun, and he's actually pretty good. You know, I really like... I'll forgive this. Well, okay, I won't forgive it, but I'll try to get past it. But I like a lot of the design solutions that they came up with for this guy. Does he open his mouth? That's a good question. Oh. Cyber key? Oh, wait, here. Lost the cyber key. Let's plug in the cyber key and see what it does. Oh, the cyber key opens the mouth and makes the ears go up. Okay. And it's spring-loaded. That's why they came up with a place for the cyber key to be stored, because it doesn't lock in like a lot of the other ones. So, okay, that's cool. And I really like the detail on the mouth. That's cool. All right. Well, you know, they committed a bit of a sin there, but they also did a lot of really cool things with this guy, so I'm not going to hate on it too bad. But boy, you know, I wish they wouldn't have done that. Come on, guys. You've proven that you're capable of doing better than that. So, so that's it. I want to thank everybody for joining me on a Thursday night for not quite impromptu, but sort of an impromptu live stream where it took us a long time to get to the point, which was to show off this really cool upgrade kit that is that I think is very interesting and unique. And if you have this toy and you wish it had these extra modes and extra features, this upgrade kit is really not a bad product to buy, and I love the idea of supporting these third-party companies. So if you are able and if you are interested, then the upgrade kit definitely gets a thumbs up. And thank you all for watching. Please, if you haven't already and you had fun with this, click the thumbs up button, because that really helps the algorithm to say that people like what we're doing. And also subscribe and click the notification bell so that you know when we're doing stuff. We do live streams pretty much every Friday night at 8 o'clock. We do other live streams throughout the week, depending on my schedule and how tired I am after work. So we've got, we've got Seacons and God Neptune tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. You are all invited to come. It's going to be awesome. So, if you like this video, like and subscribe and all that stuff. We already covered that. With that being in mind, a toast to everyone who came here. And so, thank you very much, Connie, Kyoji, Nathan Fillion. Oh, I'm almost drinking my tea bag. That part doesn't taste as good. Colleen, Machiavellic, Collie D, Babs Magera. See, I screwed up the easy part. Babs Magera. You know, there's more than just tea in here. It's not entirely my fault. Grayscale. Welcome back to Bushman Brown. Oh gosh. La Rascasa. I feel good about that one. Welcome, La Rascasa. I hope we see you tomorrow night and many times to come. Joy, of course, Joy. Always a toast to Joy. And Sea Striker 87, welcome and thank you. Thank you, everyone. I will see you again tomorrow night. Have a wonderful evening and have a great weekend. We'll see you tomorrow night.